ho! Big Nasty is here! Welcome everyone again. Today we start with a special segment with Big Nasty, the worst and slowest car of the challenge. Which is not a surprise. I mean, just look at it. Just because it's that bad, I've given it the entire lap, so you can see how I suffer. And yes, this is also the first zero I've ever given on styling, which is, sort of crazy, because I'm pretty lenient with stuff, but this isn't even a car, so yeah, it's just sad looking, I'd say. I almost considered giving it a -10, but I'm not that mean. Actually, I am, but I don't want to calculate that. Anyways, yeah, when it comes to driving, this is honestly nearly undrivable, definitely compared to the other cars. I mean, yeah, you can see I can't even keep it on the track, but at least I managed a lap in it, because it took a while and it wasn't fun. And yeah, what else? It's just sort of sad in every single way. It's definitely how I would expect the Happy Wheels thing to drive. It's almost completely illegal, but I decided to still allow it because, I mean, come on, it's gonna get disqualified from Speed anyways, so that's also partly why it has a special segment, because it's so stupid that I can't stop myself. Also, good little track guide. You can see where every corner on the track goes, which is a bit useful for the later cars, because some of the cars you can see comparisons and how they take the corners and such, because some of them really struggle, especially in this corner. They often just completely launch off the track, and I had to do a lot of reruns there because that corner. But yeah, it's fine. I enjoy it. So at this point, I'm just rambling because I really don't have anything fun to say about this car. It's just not interesting. I wanted to die. Go die. Go die. Go die. Come on. Come on, kid. Go die. Go die. Also, it's the only 2-minute plus time today. So that's a very interesting one. Next, I don't know, Ventos CTC. I'm not even going to attempt saying the first one. This is just a stock road car, and I have no idea why it was entered into this, to be honest. I mean, I don't mind. I didn't clarify that road cars are banned or anything, so it's fine. But yeah, it's just a normal road car, rear drive wagon, goes around the track, I guess. It's technically a better track guide than Big Nasty. Don't think it looks very good, which is why I got a 4. Taillights especially far too low. If there's one tip I would give to Vento, it's don't place your taillights so low on the car. The bumper line isn't automatically where you should place the taillights. It happens rarely in actual cars where they've actually put them there. Next, the Kiyomoi GT4 Eco Retro Future makes a return, and not any better than before, which is unexpected. I mean, what were you expecting, man? Yeah, of course it's been disqualified at 35th. Don't know how it didn't get last, because this is honestly one of the worst handling and just everything. There's so much wrong with this car. It doesn't look good. The engine is a complete utter joke. The throttle response is a joke. The handling is a joke. It even, don't ask me how, but it somehow flew over a barrier and fell off a cliff once, which is honestly the first time I've ever seen it happen on this track, definitely, and anywhere, definitely. Very interesting. Rather not see that car again. Next, the Chunk Truck. I do not know why this is, and why it has a completely custom front fender. I thought it had like 4 fixtures, but there's a way too much detail in the front fender. You should have focused on giving it taillights instead. Anyways, yeah, got a 2, of course. I mean, just look at it. It's not good looking and it misses all detail. And in terms of handling, yeah, terrible, terrible, terrible. The brakes are completely non-existent, and the steering is also completely non-existent. What did you expect? It's a 7 meter truck. Well, pretty sure it's the most powerful car in the challenge, but it doesn't say much. Next, the Toryat Prion Hybrid Synergy by Shibusu, which got a 5 because, come on. First, before I tell you why, take a look at this launch. Not quick, isn't it? Yeah, essentially 1 speed, so that probably doesn't help the situation. And yeah, Oh yeah, how it looks. Yeah, it's sad looking. It's just sad looking. At least I think it looks enough like a race car, which is why I got a 5. But yeah, it doesn't do it for me. But I know that it wasn't supposed to, which is honestly a surprise that I am giving it something higher than a few of the other cars. Yeah. Anyways, next, the Evolution B, which is an EV, the first EV I've ever driven on automation, and the first for any of my challenges. Surprise, surprise, since it uses the EV thing for automation, it sucks complete balls. As expected. It does have no acceleration. It uses an extreme amount of fuel. I mean, fuel, battery. It's slow. Well, at least it handles okay. The handling was decent enough. It wasn't great, but at least, yeah. If this had a better engine, I think it would be okay. But the engine is just, well, I mean, motors, not engine. The motors are terrible. They have no power. Next, the Blobinator Eco Blob E9B, which is also a car I consider to be just another road car, because this just feels like a road car with, yeah, I don't know, it just feels like a road car. It's something you'll see upcoming in the next few cars too. It's a lot of cars, I realized, simply did not have the grip to be a race car, but were great road cars, which makes me think that it may have to do with the suspension setups, and if I ever say that about any other cars, I would suggest making the suspension harder, or just finding a way to make it more direct and have more grip, which one of the ways is downforce. Next, number 7, Takisa SSC Farland. I have no idea if I wrote down the name correctly, but the name was so long that I couldn't bother with getting it correctly. But this car does have a lot of potential in my opinion. It's really good in the low speed corners, but it's awful everywhere else. The ground scraping is a complete disaster. The handling is a complete disaster. The downforce is a complete disaster. The engine is incredibly weak, etc, etc, etc. There's just so much wrong with this car. I think it looks cool though. That's why I got a 7. It's not really a GT4 car though. It's a straight up mock car. But yeah, in this corner specifically, I thought it was really nice and one of the best cars here actually, since it was incredibly stable, which is a lot of cars miss there. Next, the Blobmo LHBB, which feels quite similar to the last Blob, which means it also feels like a road car, not really a race car. It's a bit less extreme. Just, yeah, very similar. Don't have much to say about it. It's forgettable. I do like how it looks though. Looks like a bit of a Camry with a mix of a NASCAR. I mean NASCAR that exists. But a Camry and some sort of sports car combined, and I like the design. If it, if it had a bit more livery and different wheels, I think I might have given it an 8. I don't know. So if you ever enter this car again, make sure to do that. Or, well, you probably won't ever again because I don't ever do the 2000s challenges. Anyways, next, Nordwagen Tier R12, which I only realized while driving that wasn't 100% legal. But I didn't honestly care that much because, yeah, it was ABS and traction control and that sort of stuff. But, oh, yeah, not like it really matters on this car. This car isn't extremely fast. It's normal driving, which means it's quite easy. Feels a bit like a road car, again. But, yeah, I'd say it mostly suffers from missing ABS, and it's a bit heavy feeling. Definitely a bit heavy feeling. It looks cool though. I like the paint. It's a bit dark, but it looks nice. It looks quite nice. Just overall, I don't know. Next, I don't know how to say that name. The Sona? I'm just gonna call it the Sona because I don't know. Not even the Sora, the Sona. Anyway, the Sora 2400 RSM, which you can see me having a drift competition in because the front tires are significantly too wide for its own good, because it's a rear-engine car. I mean, it's decent. It has its positives, but it absolutely struggles on anything that is sort of a high-speed corner, I'd say. And I think it really looks cool. I mean, delivery is amazing. It's just, if this thing handled better, or at least the front tires were less wide, I think this would be a top contender. But unfortunately, it isn't. Next, the Fenland Corkart Apex T by returnee talent who hasn't competed since, I'm pretty sure, the first challenge we ever did here, which I didn't even host. So, welcome back. Anyways, yeah, I don't have much to say about this car, and it just didn't make it. It's one position off from making it into the persons or people who didn't get eliminated. But the main issue with this version, the T, is that the engine is incredibly weak. It simply doesn't have the power or anything really. It's very bad throttle response, not enough torque, not enough power. Turbo's a bit annoying. I don't know. It just, I think it's a very good handling car and very good looking car too. But yeah. But then we come to the Fenler Kong car, the Apex, which is the same car but without a turbo and possibly some different suspension. I don't know the exact differences, but yeah, a lot better. The better engine is way more direct and also feels more powerful. I don't think it is, but it feels more powerful. And this car actually did make it through, which two cars from the same person after a row is not something you see happen often, especially one that gets eliminated and one doesn't. Anyways, yeah, same car essentially, just better engine, different color. That's kind of it. Don't know if I'm missing anything else on it. Could be, maybe numbers and such, but to be fair, I haven't actually looked that closely at it. Next, Tarquini Vendetta GTC. Wow, GTC reference, guys. This will, I don't know. Anyways, very average. It's missing some directness, I'd say. But, and also the steering is extremely heavy. Don't know why. And yeah, I don't have much to say about how it drives, but when it comes to how it looks, I do have a lot to say about it, because yeah, if this used a different body, like one of the swoopy German ones from the late 80s, early 90s, I think the 3 Series body, I think I would like this car a lot more, but this body just doesn't do it for me. It's the Civic, it doesn't work. The roof is way too tall, I think. But, you know, the rest is okay. God, the car's loud. Next, the BSC Arrow. You cannot convince me that this is a race car in looks, and that's sort of all I have to say about it. It's very easy to drive, which means it's also sort of forgettable. Steering is very heavy, doesn't have much torque, but I'd say the engine is actually quite nice, because wow, that sound. Can you really blame me for thinking it's a really good car just because of that sound? It's amazing. I think it's a V8 too. Don't know how you got that sound from a V8, but I'm impressed and I really like it. So, yeah, just please don't make it as loud. Don't know why the game is so loud, but oh god, my ear. Anyways, next car, the Neep Cup car by Bibli again. This, I don't even know how many times I've had this car submitted so far. I think 3 times now, but I don't mind it. I like the car. It's always, as always, a very easy to drive car, and not blazingly fast, but it goes around the track super easily, which allows it to have an advantage over some others due to, well, you can more easily push it around the track, I'd say. But, you know, it's not perfect. It just doesn't have the pure speed, I'd say, which is only why it's a 22nd. And it doesn't have the looks either. I think it looks better than the usual one because of the color and the stickers, but next to that, doesn't really do much for me. But, midfield, good job. Next, the Kotatsu Project Big Fast, which is the only car in this challenge with a 10 on style, or not 10, an 11, sorry, an 11. I mean, come on, it's big and fast, it's a van, it's a race car. What's there else to say, man? It's perfect. Can't get much better than this. Anyways, in terms of handling, yeah, I don't know. It's not super direct, I'd say. That's probably the main issue it has, because the steering, it's really van steering, or at least it feels like it. And another thing I'd say is the wheelbase, you feel that it's very long, which can cause issues from time to time in agility. But it's not great. It's good, but not great. Next, the Wagoon. Yeah, I think it looks good. It's nothing absolutely groundbreaking in my opinion. It looks more like a rally car than a race car. But it's nice. Well detailed, which is why I got an 8. In terms of handling, to be honest, I don't even know which drivetrain this car had, because it feels so weird. It just doesn't feel right. Something, I think it's front-wheel drive, but I legitimately cannot tell you, because it has some, at times it has some pretty bad understeer, at times it has some pretty bad diff issues, sometimes it oversteers a bit. I legitimately cannot tell you, but it's decent. It's not a bad car at all. I mean, it's 20th. It beat a lot of people. And next, Better Deals makes a return with the Gekoloniseerd. And for some reason, it got a equal of 5 on 10 on styling. So what I decided to do was, I just decided to go off of what I thought it deserved, which is why I gave it a 10. Yes, guys. This is so fair. Anyways, yeah, it's way too powerful for its own good. Yeah, for example, you can see me having issues with keeping it on track because this thing is a near complete utter death trap. No, it's not a near complete utter death trap. It is a complete utter death trap. Simple as that. But yeah, Better Deals actually makes it true, so that's a surprise. Next, Mori Tiger GT4 by Scintilla. Pretty sure the first time on one of our challenges, so welcome. Yeah, I really do like this car. It's good looking. I mean, yeah, this would be an 11 if the front, or at least I'd say the grille is too high up. That's probably the main thing. But it's super highly detailed, so I really like that about it. And it drives very well too. It's very stable. It's very difficult to get it into a spin or let it oversteer, or yeah, feels like a car gentleman driver could drive. And I'm not that far off from a gentleman driver in skill, so it's not. I like it for that reason. Next, Mara is it Mara or Mara? I'll go Mara. Mara Astery 2.0 Group A, which is fun to drive, and I liked it for that because it's quite actually no, not quite, incredibly direct. The steering is incredibly heavy, I'd say. The balance is very good because yeah, it's not understeery, it's not front heavy, I'd say. It was one of the earliest cars I drove, remember, and I remember being very surprised with its performance. Don't know why, but it was nice, so I liked it. Simple as that. In terms of styling, doesn't do that much for me, but I like the vibe. It's a very touring car vibe. Yeah, there it is, touring car. Anyways, Patriot by Hyperboloid. America, land of the free, or something. I don't know the American national anthem anymore. Actually, I never knew it in the first place. But anyways, yeah, this is honestly one of my favorite driving cars of the challenge. It's not extremely fast or anything, but it's extremely stable. Extremely stable. Probably the most stable in the whole challenge. It's incredibly direct too, which is quite a surprise for a truck. I'd say the one thing that could have been made better about it is that it could have been an F-150 instead, which is probably then an 8, because the F-150 is truly American. This is the pride of America or something. I'm not American. Anyways, the Tarskis CM416 GT4 by Danny Captero, which got a 9 on styling because, yeah, I think it looks really cool. It's just sort of missing the detail that I'd be able to accept for 10 on styling, but I like it. It looked a bit like a Cayman with the mix of Mercedes, I'd say, but I don't know, to be honest. It looks very unique. And in terms of handling, incredibly balanced and incredibly stable. Yeah, that's sort of it on it. It's one of the most GT4 feeling GT4 cars I've ever driven, which is a surprise because it's not a accurate GT4 rule set, as you see me sliding around a bit. Anyways, next, the Armament Link. I'll be honest, this car really surprised me because, yeah, Prime Moss told me that it was meant to be a bit of a diesel engine, which is quite noticeable because it has a lot of torque and the power curve is mediocre, I'd say, but it's very stable in the power curve, which makes it quite predictable, and the same could be said about the handling. Very predictable, very nice, bit heavy, not super fast or anything, but it's easy, really easy, and I really like this car for that. I'll probably drive it again at some point. I mean, I know I'll drive it again at some point for the next round, but yeah, I'll drive it after that again too, I think. Next, Delfinida Project Rapid, which is also destroying my ears. Nice car, I'd say. It's, in terms of styling, of course, it's a 10. I can't say much else about it. But yeah, I'd say understeer issues are probably the main thing. I might actually redrive it just with the unbreakable fixtures on, because I forgot to put them on for this car, I think. But yeah, it's mediocre in handling, but it's fast, which, yeah, Jamaica probably made it into nearly into the top 10. Is quite impressive, to be honest. It sort of surprised me in terms of where it ended up on driving. Yeah, for how it felt at least. Next, the Machalel. No, the Epoch M10 Anson RSA GT4. Bit of a tongue twister there. By Machalel. Is it Machalel or Machalel? Tell me, please. Anyways, I'd say this is another car that feels a lot like a road car, but it's a lot more racy and it has the pure pace, I'd say. It's quite easy to drive. It's not super direct though. Say maybe some harder suspension could do it better, or some different sort of steering. I don't know. Maybe some different tires. Really don't know. I like how it looks though. It's not really race car, but the purple is an interesting aesthetic, and I really like the headlights in front. Next, my own car again, the Mars Bullet, which honestly I never tested this car before this, but it was so good that it legitimately caught me off guard. It wasn't extremely fast or anything, but the pure speed that I got out of it just felt amazing. I've never felt such a... Actually, no, I didn't ever feel such a good handling car in BeamNG up to that point, but it was also the first car I drove, so that doesn't say much. Yeah, grip, amazing. You guys gave it a 6 on styling. If you could give me a reason why it's a 6, because I can't really give reasons on my own. And yeah, sort of it. It's very GT4 feeling, just some oversteer. Very extremely direct. Next, the Galant Mini AU Sport Truck, which is not the full name. I don't even know what the full name is anymore, because it's way too long for its own good. And I'm not going to say the whole thing because it's a waste of time. It got 10th, so we're making it to top 10 now. The really fast cars. And I'd say this car has some pretty heavy steering, but in terms of everything else, it's extremely average. Really nothing special going on. I like how it looks though. I like the wheels. I like the blue. But, you know, it's missing the pure detail to be... Yeah, it doesn't do that much for me. I like it, but it's not extremely impressive. Next, the Scrunkerly Dripply, which... I was going to put the WhatsApp drip song here, but I just couldn't get it to work properly, so yeah. Anyways, this car is both a danger to myself and my wheel and my screen in so many ways that I don't even want to talk about it, because it's straight up hurts to drive. At least it's fun if you're not breaking your arms. It's very direct, too direct actually. You see some smoke coming from the engine there. I don't know why. Something. Yeah, I don't remember, but it's the BeamNG thing said something about it. I don't know exactly what it was anymore though. The engine somehow didn't explode though. Next, the Clary. I don't know. I'm just going to call it the Clary Surpre GT4. I don't know how to say that word. My Vento again, and I'll say I'm really impressed with the design on this car. It's missing detail, but I'm really impressed with Vento on this car. It may have to do with primarily the front, because I really do think the front looks amazing. The back less, but it's not bad. I just say the colors are a bit of mismatch in my opinion. The yellow is a bit too beige, let's say. But in terms of handling, because I completely forgot about that, great car, but not the handling. The brakes are a disaster, I'd say. Just needs bigger brakes. Sort of the only issue with it. Next, the DMCW Fire Breather, which was the first car that got the special order, and now I realized that I completely forgot to record the car, which isn't very fun. I don't know where it went, but the other special order seems to be gone, and it'll probably show up in the next video then. Anyways, yeah, this got the special order, so automatic 10 on styling. Even if it wasn't, then it would probably still have gotten an 8, because I still think it looks very good. And it handles really well too. I don't know how you got something to bizarre specifications that I came up at the moment to something that handles so incredibly well, because at the time I'm pretty sure it was fastest for a bit. It was just amazing. Next, the Cabbage GFS GT4 by Ringo, which is, I'm pretty sure, also their... Wait, no, never mind. The Wagyu was their first car. Never mind. Yeah, some oversteer issues, I'd say, because you can see me having a bit of problems with keeping it straight. But I'm pretty sure that may have to also do with that it's getting on the limit of the tires. But I really don't know, to be honest. I'd say the front tires are a bit too wide and the diff isn't amazing. And in terms of looks, it definitely deserves its 9 because it looks very good. Definitely near perfect. It's just yeah, there's too much smileys on the back of the car, I'd say. It looks almost exactly like a real GT4 car would, though. Next, the Chadley Coupe, which I had to do a lot of runs in to get a proper run, but I was proud of this one. Anyways, yeah, this car is completely and utterly insane. It may actually be too fast because the diff really struggles in especially the lower speed corners. Huge wheel spin, even if I keep the traction control on. So yeah, if it had either a bit less torque or less power, I think this would have possibly even been fastest because the handling is masterful. It's just yeah, probably the engine. You can see me struggling here. I spun in that corner so many cars in this car, it's not even funny. Which, you know, it may maybe even be an advantage because you got more time for me to test out the car. Next, the Hyone M2 Concept GT4 by Schimmel, which, to be honest, did a lot better than I thought it did, because at the start I was really saying, oh, this car handles like crap, man, this isn't a very good handling car. I decided to drive it at the end because I just couldn't get a proper lap, and I thought, you know what, this car is actually pretty decent, but it's very difficult to drive, I'd say. Bit death trap, and it scrapes on the ground. I don't know why. Schimmel said it's most likely some sort of bug, and I don't see anything scraping on the ground personally either, so probably is. But it's a nice handling car if you get the hang of it. I think this car might actually have winning pace, but it doesn't have that drivability, I'd say. Next, we're making it to top 3. The Exilion Volcan Concept by Nocturne. Yes, the same Nocturne that made Big Nasty. In terms of handling, this might actually be my favorite car in the challenge because it's so nice. Seriously, near perfect. It doesn't get much better than this on handling. Yeah, just I don't really say. Just think about the perfect car. That's it. Only thing I could get more of is I think some extra front downforce, but it's probably limited by the rules of the challenge. And in terms of styling, yeah, it gets a 9. I think it deserves it. Just. Yeah, I think mainly the wing is just too huge for me, and probably the splitters too, just too much GT3. Next, Schimmel's again, Merz 729 GT4R. It gets an 8 on styling because it doesn't have an extreme amount of detail. It looks nice, and I like that. And in terms of driving, this is also very similar to, what was it again? The Tarska, which is quite a similar car in dynamics too, but it's funny thing about this car is it actually has an i3, but that's probably the one thing that's holding it back, because this car would have most definitely been faster with a better engine, some sort of yeah, bigger engine too, because it wasn't using the full engine capacity possible. But here we are again, aren't we? Double trouble again, coming with the incredible cars. I don't know how he did it, but this car is so fast. I don't even get it. It's more than 3 seconds ahead of everyone else. So it's so fast that I legitimately don't think the tires can handle it, because it's all over the place because of it. Do note that this wasn't even a proper run. I thought this was a very bad run in terms of how I drove, but it was so fast that I didn't even bother with giving it a better run. For that reason, I've also let it show the whole lap, because it's just so good, so perfect. I don't, especially the straight line speed. This car is a complete monster on the straights, and I don't get hammered. Maybe it may have to do with the body, because it's a legacy body, I think. But yeah. And in terms of styling, yeah, I think it gets a 7, because I personally am not a huge fan of the design. It's decent, and I like the exhaust on the back of the engine bay, and that's sort of it about this car. Just near perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just great engine, great handling. Just could use some better tires, I guess. And those were the results for the first round, and you can see who got eliminated. Double Trouble currently in first, Schimmel in second, Nocturne in third. Styling will be applied at the end, which would probably currently put Schimmel in first place. But, don't know, to be honest. Sorry for the extreme delays. I felt really ill twice. But I hope to get the next challenge out a bit faster. Have a few tests for school next week, so give me a bit. But I will get it out earlier than last time. Uh, and everyone, thanks for waiting. I appreciate, of course, all of you watching this stuff. And I finally got a slightly better temporary microphone. So, yeah, thanks for watching. And see you, everyone, in the next round. Where, I don't know. I'm thinking Laguna Seca, but suggestions are all open. See ya.